What's going on, guys? It's Matt McCooch again. Welcome back to the channel. And this is going to be the third part of the Life Essentials series that I've been doing. And today what we're going to be focusing on is effort. So in the first video we talked about goals and dreams. In the second video we talked about passion. And those were really kind of the why you want to do, what you really want to do. And now we're going to get into the how you go about actually achieving and doing that, talking about effort. So with effort, something that you guys got to understand is nothing in life is going to come easy to you. It's just not going to fall right into your lap and just be there. I mean, and if something like that does happen, then it's going to be, a very lucky, coincidence or chance, what have you. But for everything else and anything else that you want in your life, you're going to have to work at it. And you're going to have to put in your time. And you're going to have to put in, most importantly, your effort. And what effort we're going to be talking about in this situation is the constant working at it. The constant going after it and the constant putting in time and the constant, just never giving up on it. So just a quick little story so you guys can get an understanding of this. I graduated high school in 2010, and all 4 years when I was there, I played high school basketball, and I loved it. And so much so that after I graduated, I actually got invited to come back and coach the following year by the head coach at the time. And, I was like, oh, hell yeah, absolutely, I'm going to do this. So came back the next year and found out that it was going to be a volunteer position. So meaning that I wasn't going to be able to, make any money from this. It's just going to be strictly, all my time and, and I was fine with that. But the problem was, for me, the job that I was working at the time, that kind of interfered with me being able to coach. So I found myself in kind of a situation where I asked myself, is this something that is going to be worth investing my time in? Is this something that I'm actually going to love? And I mean, I've already gotten the invite and I'm here now, so the only question was whether I wanted to do it. And of course, obviously, I ended up choosing, yeah, that is something that I wanted to do. So, I stopped working at the job that I was at so that I would be able to coach. And now the season's, it runs from about November to like the first week or so in March. So that was about a little over 4 months that I was going without any kind of income. And, at first it kind of bothered me that I was like, well, how am I going to be able to get gas to go to and from practice? How am I going to be able to do my Christmas shopping? How am I going to be able to do all this and that stuff? But over time, that actually faded away. And I just found myself falling in love with just being able to coach the sport of basketball to these high school kids and just being able to teach them so much more about, not just the game itself, but how you can apply what you learn in the game to in life. And, I grew out of that worrying about money. So the second year came around and, it was the same thing. It was still a volunteer job and I still wasn't working during the season, obviously. And it just, I loved what I was doing. And that didn't stop me from every single day showing up, being able to put forth my best effort and be a positive role model to all these kids and just doing something that I love to do. The third year came and it was the same thing, and I was right back at it, still showing up with a smile on my face every day, putting in the 3 hours of practice each week, and then plus game time and Saturday practices and all that stuff. And then on the fourth year, I actually got a phone call from the new head coach at the time, and he was one who I'd coached with 3 years prior. And he actually asked me, he said, I wanted to let you know, just to be the first to know that I asked this. He said, I want you to coach the freshman team. We have an opening. Be the head coach. It'll be, it'll be like a paid position and, all that stuff. And if anybody out of everybody, you've earned it. You've earned this right to be able to, not even a right, but you just earn the privilege to be able to coach these kids. And when you know, I got off the phone with him, I was just like, yeah, I'll definitely do it. I want to do it. To be able to, you know, going from a volunteer coaching position, putting in all that work and learning more about the game and learning about, you know, how the practices go and how I can be a positive influence and inspiration to the kids that I was coaching. That's what I learned in those 3 years of groundwork, if you will, leading up to this. And, you know, so the first day of practice, I got really nervous and all that stuff, but got through it. The following year, I got offered the JV position, a promotion, because they liked what I was doing at the freshman level. They wanted me to take the next step and go up and teach, you know, the next generation, which is going to be the varsity the following year. And, you know, looking back on it, I don't even think about how much work I put in, really, just because I would love and still do love, you know, what I was doing. And just being able to make a positive influence on those kids' lives from the start of the season, and then to see them change at the end of the season through all that, the effort that I've been putting in with them and trying to teach them stuff, and them actually receiving it and just soaking it in, and then seeing them change at the end of the season. To me, all that effort that I put in was well worth the cost, and it still is. I can't wait until, you know, in about a month, the season's getting ready to start up again, and it's that time of year where, you know, I start getting really happy, and people could just tell that, you know, that I'm a different person, because it excites me in that way. And the key point to take away from this story is, if you don't see something happening in the future, or like the short-term future, don't stop. Don't let that stop you from going after it. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the time. You just got to put in the effort. And that goes for a lot of things in life. If you look at it with marriages and relationships, you think they just make themselves work on their own? No, that's not the case. If the two people care about each other enough, they've got to put in the work, and here's that word, the effort, into being able to make it work with each other. If not, they would just be, you know, the divorce rate would be so much higher, and, you know, stuff like that, and people just really wouldn't care. If you look at it, if you want good grades, if you want to get that 4.0, hit the dean's list, hit, you know, graduate top of your class, what do you got to do? You got to put in the effort of putting in that work, where you're studying every night, you're busting your ass on projects, you're making sure that, you know all the material, so when it comes test time and project time and paper time and exam time and all that stuff, you've already got that down packed, and you're just like, all right, well, hey, let's go through this. And then when you're at the end, you look back at all that effort that you did, and you see that that's the fruit right there. The fruit of labor is just success, and growing that fruit is putting in the work and the effort that you got to do. If you guys want to change your body, if you want to lose weight, if you want to build muscle, if you want to be able to do any kind of thing with transforming your body and your overall health, what do? Well, you're not going to be sitting on the couch eating potato chips and ice cream and watching, you know, the news channel, your favorite sitcom or whatever. No, it's not the case. You've got to get up off your ass, and you got to go to the gym, and you got to put in your time. You got to put in the, you know, the term is the blood, sweat, and tears for it. You've got to earn that. And that's only, once you do that, then you get to the mountaintop. So many people, and like, they just don't get it. That effort is so pivotal into being able to achieve the goals that you want, that a lot of times, like with the generation that I'm from, millennials, I think we're called, a lot of people, you know, they tell us that we believe everything should be, we're entitled to everything. And I have a problem with that personally, because I know a lot of people who don't feel that way, where they go out and they bust their ass, and, you know, they get what they want because they've worked for it. But that's only because of the mindset that they're willing to put in that work to be able to get to that success of what they want to do. And first and foremost, you know, if you guys don't have that passion for doing something or wanting to accomplish something that really means a lot to you, then it doesn't matter how much effort that you guys put in. See, everything's all kind of, it's tied together. Your goals and your dreams, your effort, your passion, you know, the time that you put in into going with something. Everything's all, one can't work without the other. And at the very root of it, it's got to be passion. If you don't have passion, nothing else is going to work. But getting back to the effort, there's going to be times when you're putting in that effort when you may not see the results that you want, and you may feel like you want to quit. That's not the time to quit, guys. If you look back and you've seen all that progress and all that, everything that you've put in to get to this point, you kind of find yourself at a crossroads where you're like, do I want to give up? Or do I want to keep going? And this is the point where a lot of people will take that path where I want to give up. After they've come so far of, you know, whatever the goal is, just trying to make it work and putting in all of their life and their being and their energy into it, and they just want to walk away from that. The road to your goals is not an easy road, guys. You gotta put in effort, and there's gotta be a point where you come to the realization where I'm gonna go the whole way. If I've already put in so much effort, I'm gonna keep going. Why stop now? You've already got the train rolling by making that decision where, hey, it's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna put in effort towards it. And knowing that I'm gonna have to keep putting in effort and keep pushing and pushing and pushing until eventually I get to that mountaintop where, hey, I completed my goal. Then once you have that confidence of you putting in the time, everything else just comes second nature. You'll realize that, hey, putting in effort isn't such the baddest thing or the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It's actually pretty easy. It's all just a mindset, you guys. It's a mindset paired with your heart. How much you want it is going to determine the effort that you put in towards getting that goal. If you don't want it, if you don't want something badly, guess what? You're going to put in next to shit effort. It's just that easy. And with that, so many people have a hard time of just taking that first step. Taking that first step to put that little bit of effort into doing something because they want to see immediate results right then and there. And that's not how it works, guys. Life is not a marathon or a sprint. It's a marathon. You're going to take your bumps and bruises, and you're going to take times where you're going to think that, why am I wasting my time doing this? Why am I devoting so much of my energy into doing this? And that's because you're progressing to getting further of where you want to be with your goal. It's so important to take that first step to just do it. Do whatever it is. Take a little tiny step. If you want to start running a marathon, you got to take that tiny step into first getting off the couch and going and running maybe a half mile and time yourself, or even walking a half mile. Then you get to the next step where you start jogging, and then you start picking up the pace. Then that half mile goes to a full mile. And then you start pushing yourself, and you're like, okay, I put in the effort to get up to where I want to be on the mile. Let's go 2 miles, and say it's a 3 mile race that you're going to run. Okay, well, you start building, and here it comes, your goals and your dreams. A goal could be get your time in that 1 mile. Get it. Then you move on to the next. Then you start putting in more effort to get to that 2 mile. And then finally that 3 mile. And then finally race day comes, guys. And the effort that you put in up to that point just is so simple. It's like breathing. You've already been there and you've done it before. So now it's just, you guys just got to take that first step. You got to put in the effort. You got to put in the time, and you just got to work at it, whatever it may be. And like I've been saying throughout the series, guys, it doesn't matter if your goal or your dream is something that you may seem so foolish, or to somebody else may seem so trivial. It doesn't matter about what they think. The only thing that matters is what you think. If you like it, if it makes you happy, if it makes you want to get up in the morning to go do it, that's all that should matter. Put in the effort, put in the time, have the passion, set goals to accomplish that dream for whatever it is. Till next time, guys, I'm out.